Hello, I'm Gary Lyon and welcome to Access All Areas. Top 4 spots are still wide open and the race for the top 8 is absolutely still on. 4 weeks to the finals and the finish to this season will go down to the wire. Damien Barrett joins me as always. Damo, a couple of sides missed their chance.
Yeah, a couple of sides really didn't take grasp of opportunities that were right in front of them, guys. I want to start with the 2 Adelaide teams and let's, for the sake of exercise, start with the Crows beaten by the Eagles. Out of the 8 now, and they actually look like a team that doesn't deserve to be there on the back of that.
No, it would appear that they need to be on the edge, Adelaide, that they need to be chasing and clawing and against the odds, backs to the wall, all that sort of thing. I think the worst thing that happened to Adelaide on the weekend is they kicked the first 4 goals of the game, with West Coast Eagles barely touching it, and from that point on they sat back into cruise control mode, and full credit to Adam Simpson and the Eagles. It was a win that Adam Simpson needed for his, not for his job security, but just to release the pressure a little bit.
The other team, in Adelaide, Port, only won 2 of their past 7, and one of those 2 was against Melbourne, and they were probably lucky to win it. Really ordinary performance yesterday against Collingwood. Yeah,
it was. Look, they had a good period during the 3rd quarter, but the other 3 quarters I think were pretty lamentable. There's a suspicion that there was some illness that went through the camp. Don't use that as an excuse.
Every club's got that right now.
The bottom line is they may not be as good as they think they are. The Port Adelaide Footy Club, and they got away to a flyer on the back of hard work, on the back of willingness to back one another, support one another, and for whatever reason, whether it's fitness, I mean, they got the guru there who got them up early. Whether that's starting to tell, all those questions are legitimate now, I think, given their recent form line.
Tell me, Sydney, this is the come for Port Adelaide. Sydney, Gold Coast, Carlton and Fremantle. It's not the easiest group of 4 matches.
No, they're dangerous, a couple of dangerous floaters. You wouldn't expect them to beat Sydney. Gold Coast up there, now that's always going to be dangerous, even without Gary Ablett, and Carlton are proving to be a really difficult opponent. So if they get there, they will get there on the back of having to win at least 2 of those games. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility they miss out. I mean, highly unlikely. It's a long way from where we were about 8 weeks ago when we were talking them up as a top 2 candidate.
Yep. The team that beat them yesterday, Collingwood, really liked how they went about it. Just had to get the 4 points. And look at it, they had to scrap and fight and really work for it, and they did.
Well, everything you'd want from your footy club when it was on the line. It was built up during the week as their grand final, and they played accordingly. So they ticked every box. They won the tackle count, they won the contested possession, they won the clearances. Not by an enormous amount, but they're the indicators I think that Nathan Buckley said we've got to get back to, and they ticked all them. So well done to Collingwood.
North Melbourne's got a lot to work through on the back of their, again, ordinary performance from the weekend. Lindsay Thomas, Gaz, again, he's got a lot to work through himself personally. Is he too selfish? Is he too hungry?
Look, we had a look at these. I don't mind that one because Greenwood was going to the left side anyway, and he had some Geelong pressure there next to him. So I don't mind that. I know he's copped a lot of heat for this, Lindsay Thomas. This was the one that he should have given. He should have given it instinctively and just without even thinking about it, because he was running onto his right boot. So bang, give that off. I know McDonald's a left footer as well, but at least he wouldn't have had the pressure that was coming. And this next one, I'd just say kick the goal, Lindsay, and we wouldn't be talking about it. I mean, he's close enough. There's not enormous pressure there, and I reckon Lee Adams was running to the boundary anyway. Not sure that was always going to work. So that's one thing from Lindsay that I'll give him a bit of a tick for. The other thing that he's been roundly condemned for,
and rightly so,
and he's got history, is the dive. There was a free kick going to be paid there anyway. James Kelly had 2 hands in the back.
Let's just get that right, that there was a free kick to be paid. I believe there was.
Well, I was sitting, no question about it. But the ramifications for this started after the game, when Brad Scott, who's in his typical forthright and honest style, said it's not the first time. He's got an issue, and let's have a listen to what he had to say.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with that. Whether it was a free kick or not, just play the ball, mark the ball. If you get infringed, the umpire will pay it. We don't condone it, and he's got to stop doing it. And I think he's been better, but he relapsed on one occasion tonight.
Look, he's making life difficult for himself, Lindsay. That's the only thing that's going to happen. As someone who was faking for free kicks as a player early in my career, got sat down by Neil Baum, who met with the umpires, and the umpires had said, tell him he's not going to get a 50-50 line ball if it keeps going. So he has to take that on board, because he's making life difficult for himself.
OK, there's an option for the AFL under the staging provisions of the rules, guys, to do something if they want to do it. For what it's worth, as bad as that looked, and as bad as it is for Lindsay Thomas to deal with this week, I don't think that staging rule applies on this particular act.
Well, it would be harsh if they just pulled it out now.
It would.
Out of the blue, because there's been a huge kerfuffle made of it. Maybe they come out and make a statement and say, we have got this rule at our disposal, this has brought it into focus, therefore everyone's on notice. but certainly I wouldn't be pinging him on the back of that.
Hey, the umpiring of that game, North Melbourne gave away free kicks in the first half, which I reckon 90% were there, but it was different in the second half. Let's go back to one of those free kicks that was played against Brent Harvey, and we'll just turn the audio right up so you can hear why the free kick was given against him.
Prohibited contact, too much. Nope. What's up? Calm down. Too hard, prohibited contact.
Too hard, prohibited contact. What should he have done in that situation?
Well, this is what frustrates people that watch telly, watch the game. I mean, what should have happened... A, the free kick should never have been paid.
Yep.
No question about that, Damo. And as the ball left that area, that umpire should have moseyed on over to Boomer and said, "Listen, Boom, don't give us the opportunity to make a mistake by you doing that. Okay, so you're on the edge, cut it out." Boomer would respect that. Would have made the appropriate changes, no free kick. You've got to sort that out upstairs after the show.
Well, even if it is prohibited contact, it's a free kick every time. So to say it's too hard, then you've got variations of strength, you know. Yeah, anyway.
Who's to say it's too hard, Damo?
Yeah, I agree.
An umpire?
How hard is too hard? Gaz, Chris Scott, Gaz, look, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's had an issue with people in the media who've been questioning the Cats' premiership credentials. I cannot recall someone who's come out and categorically said they can't win the flag, but it's a bit of an issue in Chris Scott's head. I don't know why.
Damo, even if they have, even if someone's come out and said they're hopeless, they're gone, why would you care? Who cares? If you're in the Geelong bubble,
does he use it to fire himself up as much as he's
if that's the case, fair enough. But why would you care about what's been written about your footy side when you're 14-4?
Can they win the flag?
15-4. They're going to be in...
Can they win it?
Yep. They can, because they're going to finish potentially in the top 4, and anyone that finishes in the top 4 can win the premiership. And there were signs from that game, particularly against North, that they are getting it right at the right time of the year.
I've been a doubter, but like a few others, I haven't actually ruled them out.
Of course, yeah. And look, because I could come out and say they are going to win the flag, I don't reckon Chris Scott's going to come out and say, "Gee, we're excited because Gary said we're going to win the flag." He couldn't care less.
Hey, Reece Conker did something on the footy field on the weekend that goes back to the old bad days, Gaz, and it was strange on Devin Smith.
Well, I might be in the minority here. If you reckon that's a good thing to have happening, to run up behind a bloke and elbow him in the back of the neck...
But no one said it's a good thing, so...
No, but there's a bit of a, he'll get a week. I mean, I think that's an horrendous look for the game.
Would you send that to the tribunal, even?
I don't understand the point system and all that, but if you chase a bloke down and elbow him into the back of the head when he's not watching, you talk about bad looks from Brian Lake. That is a bad look Damo, for the game.
Yeah.
So he's
I hope they actually adjudicate on the bad look and not just the impact to Devin Smith, because while he looked hurt by it a little bit, it wasn't game-ending for him or anything like that. So I reckon it's got to be at least 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, I would be happy with it.
What about the other one yesterday, Merritt, Gaz on Pedersen? That was pretty brutal.
Well, it's stupid. I don't know if it's weak, but it's stupid. I mean...
He's got form, Merritt.
He's got form, so you'd say it's weak.
His season could... A week?
I'd say it's weak.
A week? A week or how many?
Clear your ears out. Well, he splattered his nose, but I'm more worried about this. Dom Tyson is the one that should be apologising, and this is symptomatic of where Melbourne in. That was a disgusting performance from Melbourne, and Brisbane weren't much better.
But what are you saying? You're saying Dom Tyson's kick?
That kick is what caused the injury. Make no mistake, and I love Dom Tyson. I think he's had a fantastic year. That kick is the reason that he had his nose splattered all over his face. So if I'm Dom, I'm going up after the game feeling sick in the guts. And then if I'm the other 21 Melbourne players, I'm feeling sick in the guts full stop, because it was a disgusting display of footy with an inability to hit. And I thought it was just me being a frustrated Melbourne supporter. I was pleased to read that Paul Roos looked at it the same way. Stop blaming coaches, stop blaming the poor culture, stop blaming the last 5 years, the Melbourne players. Hit targets 5 metres away by hand and 15 metres by foot, and then you won't cop this sort of criticism. It was embarrassing. It's deplorable.
What about the team that beat them? I put my hand up. I'd written them off 9 weeks ago. They're 5-4 since the break, Gaz. And look, their body of work in that time, they haven't beaten anyone of great note. But what I really like what they've done is they're having a crack. And even that game yesterday, they blew it right open when they had to. Well,
they had a hell of a lot more inside 50s. They could have potentially been even further ahead. No, they've been fantastic. You know what? Since Jonathan Brown retired, I reckon the rest of that group looked at each other and said, righto, time to stand up. And this is
a couple of big guys have filled the role role that he's had, Dean McStay and
Michael
Michael
Close and McStay had taken these marks if John O'Brien wasn't playing. And I'm not blaming John O'Brien. I'm just saying that they now know they've got a forward line that they need to patrol and need to be able to make an impact on. And I thought Close over the past 3 weeks has been really good.
Yep.
And this boy McStay, he showed what Close does also is goes back and kicks goals. But look at this mark from McStay. Contested, Jeremy Howe, good opposition. Not about the front and square from Tom McDonald.
So what you're saying there too is that the lines were going to Brown whether he was in form or not.
No doubt, no question, because that's what happens when you've got a big magnetic figure like that in your forward 50. And well done to Justin Lepich, who's held that group together on the back of some injuries and all those sorts of issues.
Cameron Wood's been extraordinary, I reckon, in the context of his career in the past 2 games he's played. He was criticised for this kick late in the game, which resulted in the winning goal.
So.
But he nearly had an issue to deal with, Gaz, with his own teammate. The great Chris Judd had already been cleaned up by Aaron Sandilands.
That's it. Just lucky he just dived over the top of Juddy, otherwise he might have had a double issue to deal with. So he's been good, Cameron Wood, but he'd love that kick again late in the game. Now, some forensic work. We would like to claim responsibility for this, Warrior, but we didn't do this. This comes from our behind-the-scenes team. Set play here. This is putting opposition clubs on alert.
Yep.
Kade Simpson, there's White, left footer.
Yep.
Always going to go to the left. Watch White, bang. And then a nice candy cell there.
So he's ready for it?
No question. Well, on the reaction, have a look at the reaction. This is the reaction of a group of players that are excited about a set play. Bryce Gibbs, look at Dale Thomas.
Yep.
They all go to White. So, gee, that worked well. Nothing better when a plan comes off, Damon.
Watching that back, it was definite set play.
It's behind-the-scenes group here. Outstanding work. Hey, well done, Warren. Very nice work. Don't forget to keep clicking back to afl.com.au for all your latest news and great video content right throughout the week. Thanks for watching. Access all areas. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.